The basic use of the pattern stamp tool. You can find the pattern stamp tool over in the tools panel, select pattern stamp tool. As soon as you've done that, I would suggest go and select any of the brushes, maybe soft round. What you can then do is select a pattern that you're going to use. There's a whole range of different patterns. You can actually define a pattern yourself if you've got a pattern design you want to create, something like this. Simply create a design and then simply go to edit and define pattern. That will then be saved as a pattern preset, and then you can select it in this pattern presets up here. So there's that pattern there. What you've also got, you've got a number of other options such as aligned as well as impressionist, as well as the flow and opacity. Also you've got blending modes as well. So I'm just going to start with normal. Key panel for this, brush settings. You can find that in the window menu and brush settings. Because what you can do, you can go and select a brush tip. And you can select any of these brush tips here. So select one of them. I'm just going to go with this one. Doesn't matter which one in particular. And you can vary the size. You can also change the spacing. And then you can simply apply it. And as you do that, you can see your pattern will appear. One problem with the pattern stamp is you cannot manipulate the size of the pattern. If you want to do that, simply go back to the source design there, resize it, and then go to edit and define pattern to create a smaller design or a bigger design, whatever you want, because there's no option for scaling. So again, simply apply it like this. Now you'll notice here, there's an option here for aligned. If you go for not aligned, if you apply a brush stroke again, you will see the pattern appears again somewhere else. Now this doesn't match the actual pattern design. So if I just go back and select pattern aligned, now if I apply it, you can see the pattern appearing there, and you can appear in there, and it will always appear in those locations. This is the problem with the pattern scaling. You can't scale it, so you've got what you've got. So if I go apply it again, it will appear there again. And you can just keep adding to that design. But if you go for the not aligned, apply the brush, you will see it appearing in different locations. So it's not aligned to the actual pattern. So it just appears all over the place. But it creates more opportunity for some more exciting design, pattern designs, by just simply using the not aligned. Just depends what you want. But you can vary settings over here. You've got options here. Change the tip again. Very quick and easy. You could use maybe a different one. And again, you can change the size. And again, you can apply it again. And again, you will see as you add that, you've got the design there. But what you can also do, you can go for blending modes. So you go for maybe instead of normal, maybe go for multiply, which is probably going to be pretty useful. With multiply, you can darken or multiply as it says. So every time you apply it, I'm just going to go for the aligned option. That makes it clearer. So as you apply it over there, you can see it just adds and adds. Obviously it gets to a certain point and you cannot add any further. But you can see as you go over there, you can just simply add to it and you can define the shape of your pattern more clearly. There's also an option there for, and I'm just going to turn that off, go for Impressionist. Impressionist is really useful and you could do hundreds of videos just about the Impressionist. And what it does, it just creates really random designs all over the place. And you can vary obviously the settings here, shape, size, jitter, etc. and create all kinds of different unique designs. And the colour will be just generated based on the pattern, but more random. So I'm just going to turn that off. I'm going to go back for aligned. So what you can do, you can go over here to all the various brush settings. So shape dynamics, you can change the size jitter. You can also go for scattering, so you can spread it out. And again, once you've done that, you can see as you do it, it just accumulates because it's being added each time to that design because it's aligned. As I say, if you decide, you know what, I don't want that design, but I want maybe a smaller design or a bigger design, you can select one of the other designs, and these are different scalings of that pattern. And you can just add that again to the brush and then apply it over the image. And again, what you can do, unfortunately, the one option you haven't got, which would be super useful, color dynamics. You can't change the color dynamics, so you can't end up with a mix of colors in this, but you can, because you can do a workaround. As with all things, simply just go to image menu and adjustments, And as you're doing this, go for hue and saturation and just change your colour. Just do that. Once you've done that, you've got green and purple now. Well, okay, but you've also still got the old pattern, so you can add. Now I'm just going to go back to normal so you can actually see it being added, and you can see again the same old colours there, but it's on top of the green now. So you can vary it to a degree. It's a bit limited. It's not much of a workaround, but it's certainly a way of getting around the issue of the fact that there's no colour dynamics for some reason. You've also got other options for dual brush, as well as texture and much, much more. So you can use all these settings to create a variety of different pattern stamp designs, and you can create all kinds of distressed designs very quick and easy. Again, the key thing for this is just go for aligned turned off, and you can simply add them and it will just add them over the image, and you can create a variety of different designs each and every time you apply. And you can always vary the brush tip again. You can always change your mind, and there's a load of them here, so you just select brush tip and simply increase, and you can modify spacing if you don't want it so intense. But you've also got options up here for flow as well as opacity. That just increases the amount, so you can reduce the opacity down so it's not so dramatic. So just say reduce the flow as well, and it will just be applied a little bit less, so it gives it a much more control thing. But sometimes I must admit I'm impatient and I like it to be applied fairly quickly, but it can go too fast and you end up just with the pattern design, which maybe isn't what you want. Of course, with all these things you can always apply effects and many other things as well on top of your pattern designs. Hope you found this tutorial of interest. Thank you much.